Did it finish downloading? There we go. Okay. So the way I do my reference, and I can't remember who it was that asked me for something or how it came to be, but I hope you're still here. So I create my free image plane, and I come here and I go to the attribute editor and I put my reference in an image plane. And I have to remember how to get to my folder, which I don't really remember how to do. Nope. You can tell how much I'm using this in not work hours. So now I have this. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to analyze the whole shot. I'm going to analyze the area that we need, which is, let's say, from this frame to, you know what? Let's do this. The way that I put my reference is I delete the expression here and I set a key on this one. I set my frame offset. Right now it doesn't matter because the shot starts at 1, so I can just put 0, no problem. My frame out, whatever, I will leave it like that right now. And I will go to, I'm gonna guess this is at 24. Let me see. I'm not gonna guess, I'm actually going to check. What's the frame rate? 24, perfect. I don't have to worry about the frame rate. So, oh my gosh, I'm missing something here. Does anyone remember how to get the window here that shows you? Never mind. I'm super, super tired today. Okay, there we go. I set this to cycle with offset. I put view infinity. And now I have my reference playing. Now let's look at the part that we want to look at here. Let's say I'm going to look at it from here all the way up to there. So the way that I analyze my reference is I set a key at the beginning, I set a key at the end, I put this into linear, and basically that's playing my reference at the frame rate that it needs. And now all I'm going to do is go through my reference and find first I'm finding the minimum keys I need to tell the story. So that's usually for me contacts, extremes, storytelling poses. Yes, you can. Exactly. And that's another thing that I'm going to go into after. That's why I do my analysis on Maya, is because if something in my reference doesn't work, oh no, I haven't sped up anything yet. I didn't speed up anything. Right now your shot is playing at the speed that it's playing. Let's say that your shot started here and it ends here. It's playing at 24 frames per second. Right now, I did not edit your reference, but I do edit my reference in Maya so that I can do it faster. Instead of having to do it in, I don't know, Premiere, exporting, uploading to Maya, adjusting, I just do it in Maya. I don't waste time doing this because it would be a lot of time. So let's go through your reference. Okay, places where I need to key. Let's actually say that your reference starts here, just because I don't want to have to deal with that tiny foot movement. Okay, so for example, here, this frame seems to be when your foot starts lifting. So that's an interesting one to think about. But the way that I like to think about it first is, okay, let's look at the hips. What are the hips doing? It kind of seems like up to here, they could be slightly going down. Even if we don't necessarily see it, applying animation knowledge tells us that this is a place where the hips could be going down. So I'm going to set a key. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just setting a key. And then here, this is kind of your passing. So this is a good key to have. Then this is kind of your high pose. This is your contact is kind of here. Your high pose actually could be there. Let's just... How do I analyze what I'm looking? I'm just looking right now at extremes and contacts and storytelling poses. To add the curve, you just basically, you can go to frame extension here and it's going to appear in your graph editor and you can just do this. You need to have keys here. That's why at the beginning, I set a key on frame 1 and then I set a key on frame 24 and I keyed this in 24 so that I knew that that reference was going to move from 1 to 24 in the frame rate that I needed. Then here, the whole foot plants. So that's an interesting one. And also, if I look at the hips are coming down as the foot plants. So I'm going to set a key there. Again, for anyone who was wondering about how to analyze reference, this is what you do. You go through your, again, this is for a very quick planning when you don't have time to plan. You go through your, and doing this takes you 5 minutes maximum, and it basically sets you up for your whole shot. Okay, I go through my reference, this is going down, and I scrub through back and forward, trying to find exactly the frame that I need. Here, the hips are coming up, and that foot is pushing with the foot roll, and it seems like the apex is here because like around here, after this, the hips are coming down. And it doesn't have to be super precise. As long as you get pretty much there, that's all you need. And I'm not looking at the breakdowns yet. Okay, here the hand touches, so that's a good one to have. Here, your hips are going forward, and then they're going back. So I need that because it's kind of like my anticipation. So I'm going to set a key there. Your hips start going kind of backwards a little bit. So that's another thing that I need because it's a change in direction. Again, I'm trying to get all the nuance movements that I can because the best animations in terms of stylized are the ones that have information and have detail to their animations. They are not just going from A to B. There's information on how that body moves. If you're doing cartoony, then it's different. But if you're doing stylized, this is way more appealing, more interesting to watch, like the hips kind of coming backwards here and then moving down and sideways. That's more interesting than the hips not doing this. So here, this is also kind of when the foot starts moving. The foot is kind of in your passing pose here. The foot is contacting here. Where is it contacting? Here is kind of contacting. And here we have a weight shift. And before that foot lifts, I want a key so that I remember when that foot is going to lift. And then I have kind of my passing. And then first I want to go and see the contact. And then for this, it seems like around here, around up to here, if we look at the hips here are going forward. Again, I'm analyzing everything I see. And when I say analyzing, I mean I'm looking at the translations, rotations, and arcs. Contacts and all the others is the thing that I mentioned before. But if I'm looking at the hips, for example, I'm looking How is it translating? How is it rotating? How is it doing an arc? So here, I could just put a keyframe here, and that could be my breakdown. I could. It's not a bad breakdown. But if I go a little bit deeper into this, look at how the hips are moving. First, they are coming forward and rotating forward. And then they are rotating kind of in Y. But they are not rotating in Y from the beginning. They are up to here, more or less. They are just moving forward and rotating up. So I'm going to put a key there. And then here, they start rotating all the way sideways because he is the reason. And why is it happening? I don't have to just do it. I have to understand why is it happening. The reason why those hips are rotating is because this foot needs to reach sideways. And for it to reach sideways, the hips have to rotate the weight in order to give it more room to move. And so why didn't it happen here? Because the foot is just moving forward. If the foot is moving forward, the hips don't need to rotate. But as soon as I move that foot sideways, those hips are like, it's the same with my arms. I can do this and my chest is not rotating. But as soon as I do this, look, I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. My chest is rotating by its own because it's trying to angle everything in line with my arm, or my, in this case, the foot, the leg, so that I can have more room to move. So here I can possibly put a key around this frame. So far, so good. Then we have the full plant of the foot. And then here we have this foot roll. And again, when I'm looking right now, I'm looking kind of at everything. Then I can go into details. But right now I'm just trying to find the bare minimum. Now you understand why I'm saying you need breakdowns. Again, you're in class 2. When I was in class 2, I didn't know all of this. When I was in class 2, I remember thinking, what is a breakdown? How do I break downs? How do I animate? How? Now I understand it. But before, I didn't, and nobody explained it to me in this way. Again, this is the way I understand it. Maybe for some people, it doesn't make sense. But for me, this makes complete sense. And again, it doesn't work necessarily for cartoony animation, for example, because cartoony, all the rules don't apply. So this is mainly for stylized, and it's just reference. Reference is not copying one-to-one. This is just, like the word says, reference. It's just a baseline. It's how to see the mechanics of what you need, or the base acting. But then you need to push the poses, you need to push the acting, you need to push everything. This is just analyzing. It doesn't mean you're going to copy one-to-one. If you copy one-to-one, then go to VFX. Then here, again, I'm looking at everything. So for example, my hips are kind of going up a little bit, pretty much up till here, which matches what the foot is doing, that the foot is coming up. So I'm going to set a key here. And I'm going to show you why I'm setting keys. I'm not just setting keys because I'm bored. And then this is where the foot contacts, this foot. And I'm also looking at the hands. The hand kind of, I can push the contact here in this frame and I save a key. And then I can, like, let's look at the angle of the way the chest is coming down. Here, there's like this very steep angle. And then once it hits, it starts rotating. Okay, so then I'm going to go back to my reference. And I'm going to have the contact. And I think that's enough. Okay, so what do I do now? I have all my keys. What was this for? And these are not all the keys that I need. These are just the bare minimum that I need for me, for myself. You might need less or more. These for me are the minimum that I need for my blocking to make sense. But will it make sense? Will it be enough? Will I be in trouble? How do I know? I got you. What I do is I come here and I put it into stepped. Now, I can literally play my animation in stepped and see if I have all the info that I need. Does it read? Does it have everything that I need? Do I have chunks of animation where I don't know what I have? Or, like, for example, when I go into my blocking plus, I actually go here and I start counting my frames. So I come here and I'm like, okay, frame 7, I'm like, I have 8 frames here. 8 frames is way too much time for Maya to do whatever it wants. So personally, I'm going to want to add another breakdown here. Personally. Like, for me, because I like being very tidy, I like to have, yeah, you can speed up the action as well. Again, you can speed it up, but do you need to speed it up? If you want to speed it up, like, let's put this back into this. Let's say you want this whole section to be quicker. All of this. I can literally just come here and retime this. And now this is faster. And instead of having to go and do it in Premiere and then coming into Maya and realizing that the speed doesn't match what I need, I just do it here. It's so much faster. So much faster than having to do it anywhere else. But yeah, you can speed it up or you can add keyframes. Like, for example, here, from this to this, I have so many frames in which I didn't add any breakdowns. And I probably need them. Like right now, for my first blocking plus, I might not, for my first blocking pass, I might not need them because it just shows me what I need, like minimum. But if I want to go into the extra detail once I have my blocking pass, let's look at the tiny details. For example, look at how that foot that's lifting up is first coming back and then coming forward. So I can have a breakdown here so that I know what that foot is doing. And between this and this, look at what's happening in this part of your shot. If we look at from here to here, I could be like, oh, I can just have everything happen at the same time. Or what I can do is put a keyframe maybe here. And then I know, like for example here, like I'm not liking this, so I can change it before I block. Here, if I look at this, I don't like that the spacing of the hand moving, damn it. I don't like that the spacing of this is very even. Oh, I should have used the other. Let me switch to, no, hang on, my layers. Okay. I don't like that this, if I can draw while having this selected, is very even. It really bothers me. So I can shift this in time so that this action is actually here. And so I'm creating this type of spacing where it slows down. So I can adjust my spacing and timing as I needed. And even this will be a little bit more here. And then I don't have to worry about thinking about it when I'm animating. I already have it in blocking. And my blocking, my first blocking pass, is actually me analyzing the reference and making sure that I have all the information that I need. Yes, kind of. Yeah. It's kind of finding, it's not just finding extremes in the action and different axes. It's the axis and the extremes. Is the acting choices. It's the the spacing. It's analyzing all of this before you start blocking anything. And this doesn't mean that once you block with this, it's going to be perfect. This takes you like 80% of the way there. Then you need to use your animation knowledge and add like the line of action, pushing the poses, pushing the timing, pushing the spacing. Sometimes I do my blocking. Like today, I was doing a shot at work and I had my blocking. My blocking had like this character was doing like this type of gesture and then this type of gesture. And in my blocking, I had her going this and this. When I hit spline, and in blocking, it looked gorgeous. But when I hit spline, I was like, it doesn't really fit the character. You know what? I'm going to make it faster. And I changed it. So it doesn't mean that this is set in stone. Like your blocking is not set in stone. Your blocking gets you really, like most of the way there, you need to have all the information. And then in spline, you adjust it to match what you need. But you're not adding anything that wasn't already there. You have most of it there and you already thought of it. Like I already had the in my brain she was going to do this really fast. But I couldn't figure it out while I was in blocking because I wasn't sure how fast I wanted it. I was like, I knew that I wanted this to be fast, but I was like, I'm just going to make it fast, but I'm going to see how it turns out in spline. And when I went to spline, I was like, yeah, I can make this faster. But for me, this method of analyzing your reference in Maya is key. It makes your life so much easier, especially because now when I have to block, what I do, it's I don't know how to pronounce his nickname. The guy who just sent the last few messages. Yeah. So when I go into blocking, how do I block this? Again, now that I've analyzed my reference, I have all the information I need. Oh my god, nightmares. No, it's no. He doesn't. He doesn't look. He doesn't. No, he doesn't look that much. No, I know what you mean, but no, he doesn't. How do I block this out? You can. It's someone from the past. How do I block this out? You can block straight ahead. If that's your workflow, do your workflow. How do I do it? Like basically, this is my method. Doesn't mean that it's the method. It's just mine that makes my life easier. How do I make my life easier? Let's take this part where there's a lot of information. I would put a key here. Let me clean this up. And if I start a new layer, it will be good. I'm going to go through this and I'm going to start thinking, okay, what do I need to block out first? I'm going to block out this pose. Why? Because it seems, no, this one, see, this one already, we don't like it. No, we don't like this pose to start with. I'm going to start with this one because it's a contact and we like contacts. It's a good way to start. And then I'm going to see all of this. What do I need? What are my checkpoints? I call them checkpoints. Like you can call them key poses if you want. I like to call them checkpoints because it's like my biggest changes in movement, in overall body movement, that will tell me roughly where the character needs to be in the scene. So that those are my checkpoints because I need to know that I might change my checkpoint later, but that's roughly how much I need to move. Because my problem when I block straight ahead from the beginning is that I don't know how much the character moves in space. And that annoys me so much because I like to know what's happening in my shot. I like, instead of worrying all the time, I like to know, okay, I will worry about this, but I know where I'm going. Like I have a plan in my life. Yeah, you can block on contacts first, whatever you prefer. This is how I look at it. It's like, okay, this this is my biggest movement, because here, this is how far my hips are moving sideways. Like this is as much as they move sideways. So I'm going to have this as my next one. Why? Because it's my checkpoint. Again, it's just what I call checkpoint because it helps me block my shot. I'm just explaining my method if in case it helps anyone. Then what's my other checkpoint? I think this is a nice checkpoint because this is kind of like my how high the hips go, and also it's before he sits, so it gives me like a good midway through the motion pose. So I'm going to have this as my checkpoint, and then I'm going to have this as my checkpoint. So I have 4 checkpoints. So I would block out those checkpoints first. And now, can I move through my... I can't remember. I can't remember how to go from drawing to drawing. But basically, these are my first checkpoints. Now that I have my checkpoints, I personally choose block straight ahead between my checkpoints because I know where I'm going. I like doing a hybrid method. Some people like doing like this and then going to the middle and adding breakdowns. Like I have a friend who the other day messaged me and she was like, I don't remember how to do breakdowns. How do I do breakdowns? And I was like, I don't even call them breakdowns when I'm working because, again, I have my checkpoints and then I do straight ahead. And when you're doing straight ahead, you're thinking about the motion, not so much about the breakdowns, but you're thinking about the concept of the breakdown in the sense of if, let's say, I don't know, if I'm doing this motion, I'm going to think about the breakdowns, not just in terms of the motion, but I don't know, what if here actually he balances a little bit more, like he's more unbalanced, and so he brings this here. Maybe when he releases that arm first goes with the elbow down. I don't know, I'm just inventing things. That's how I would think about my breakdowns in terms of the concept, but not in terms of the name. I don't think about it like that because I do straight ahead. It's my method. It's just what works for me after trial and error of all the other methods. I tried blocking in splines. I tried straight ahead. I tried key poses only. And then breakdown. I tried all the methods. For me, this one works for my brain. If it helps you and it works for you, great. If it doesn't, whatever, find your own. But yeah, I hope that the reference analysis helped. Again, don't follow your reference one-to-one. You need to think about all the concepts of animation. This is just to get you most of the way through. Awesome. Do you guys have any questions on this, or should I close Maya? Like, if you guys are okay with me closing Maya, because once I close it, it will take forever to open it again. Awesome. Now you understand why I said you need more breakdowns. Because in my head, I like having more information in there. Oh, to key the frame Oh, don't worry. Let me show you how. Let me do. Good thing I didn't close Maya. Let me just start over so that you can see how I did it, because it will be easier than doing this. So when I create my image plane and I put my reference, I won't be able to key it right away. There we go. I will be able to see it moving, but I won't be able to key it. How do I do it? I can do it here, or I can just check this here. I go to the frame extension, and if it's purple, I won't be able to key it. So what I do is I right click and I break connections. Once I break connections, come on, break the connection. The purple will disappear, and now I will be able to key it. Sometimes Maya is a bit peculiar and I scrub through and the purple reappears. So just key this right away and you'll be able to key it. And then you can go to frame. If your reference is already in 24 frames per second, you can just go to 24 here write 24, and then go to the frame extension, set it to linear, set it to infinity cycle with offset, and then view infinity. Boom. Wait, I said cycle with offset. Boom, you're done. Now you have your reference. If your reference is at, like, let's say your reference is 30 frames per second, it's very easy to fix. You go to the key 24 and you write 30. Done. It's just so easy, guys. Like, everyone even at works, people ask like, oh, do you guys have any recommendations for cameras that shoot reference in 24 frames per second? Because my phone just does 30. I don't. Yeah, but reference. That's the thing. You will have frame skipping. Reference is reference. You don't need to have everything there. You have enough information with this for what you need. Reference is reference. You're not rotoscoping. So yes, you might have frame skipping, but you need to put in your animation knowledge. This is like, reference is just to help you have the idea and the body mechanics. It's not to rotoscope. Hey, if you want to film in slow motion and speed it up, whatever makes you happy. That's going to be a little bit more extreme, because going from 120 frames per second to 24 is big. Going from 30 to 24 is nothing. It's really, really, really small. But whatever, if it works for you, do whatever you want. This, honestly, from 20, like literally from a reference that is 30 frames per second to a reference that is 24 in Maya, the loss is minimal. It literally is minimal. You're not going to miss out on this important tiny detail in that one frame. If that one frame has a very important tiny detail, you should have already known about it when you did your reference and you looked at it and you're like, oh, I really like that tiny detail. I'm going to keep it in. Yeah. Yeah, or you can use a phone app that has, honestly, people worry too much about how they shoot their reference. It's just reference. It's not the thing that will make or break your animation. If you're a good animator, it doesn't matter how good your reference is. Again, if you have great reference, it helps you get there so much faster. Me, I'm not the best at reference. I suck at reference. So the way I have to compensate for that is by being better at animation than at acting. Oh yeah, retiming. I retime my reference in Maya all the time, especially because, let's say I did my shot, let's say here. I'm going to put a key here and I'm going to do this. Let's say I did this and then your mentor is like, you know what? It would be nice if he held the pose here for a little bit longer. This look. Okay. You want to have this look before he slumps down a little bit longer? Sure. And I turn this back into linear. Okay. Done. Done.